I'm Odin. Why are you lighting? Loki. May you please keep the shenanigans at bay, Loki. Heimdall, pray that you offer us calm discourse. And Odin, we pray that you give us wisdom. Hail Heimdall, hail Odin, and hail Loki.
Hail the old gods.
Hail the old gods.
Welcome back, everyone, to another Dancing Goats and Angry Cloud. We are here to talk about our favorite tales and theories. So, to start us off, what we're going to be basically talking about is some of our favorite topics from Norse paganism, ranging from different Eddas, different sagas and stories, or even our own personal favorite theories about the gods. And with that, I will start us off with one of my favorite theories. Is Tyr the original chief god of the Norse pantheon?
Well, going off of that, the first clue is if you read the sagas and the old stories, it did refer to Tyr as the original chief god in kind of its own circular way.
All right. Well, I want to take this at a different type of angle. Instead of going with the lore or the stories, I want us to look at it from an etymological standpoint. So, the Old Norse language stems from the family group known as Proto-Indo-European. Other cultures that were amongst the Proto-Indo-Europeans were the Anatolians, the Greeks, the Indo-Iranians, Persians. And so one of the chief things that we do know about the Proto-Indo-Europeans, we know by tracing the commonalities of the different languages in those families. And there's a few words that we have been able to construct, such as like wheel and cat. However, when it comes to the gods, we do know that there was a chief deity whose name was, and forgive me for the pronunciation of this because I have no idea how it's actually pronounced. I don't think anybody really knows for sure. Guspater or something like that. Anyways, Guspater was the chief patron god of the Indo-Europeans. Now, as time went on and the Indo-European groups spread out and splintered off into their own separate little groups, Guspater eventually morphed into Zeus amongst the Greeks and into Jupiter or Jupiter in the Roman society. Now, contrary to popular belief, the name Odin does not in any way, shape, or form connect to the chief gods of Greece or Rome or pretty much any of the Mediterranean little versions of those two faiths. However, the god Tyr does follow the morphological progression from Guspater to its form as Tyr, as it would be expected with the way that the languages changed and shifted over time.
So, speaking from an etymological standpoint, it is like Tyr's name kind of infers that he was the original chieftain.
Yes, from an etymological standpoint. That does not necessarily mean that that was the case. However, it is known that the cult of Odin wasn't the primary cult of the Norse pantheon for a very long time. Originally, the cult of Odin was a death cult who were made up primarily of berserkers and Ulflidnar, people that lived on the fringe of society. And as these mighty warriors, these mighty berserkers, Ulflidnar, achieved renown for themselves and gained themselves nobility, Odin started to become more of a god of the nobility. And thus he started taking on that role as the chief god of the Norse pantheon.
Right.
Hmm.
So kind of like the more he was worshipped, the more
shout out
power.
I'm going to give a shout out to a couple of people real quick. I want to say hi to Skoldaki. Hi, we see you there. Sarah Smith, hello, welcome.
Unicorn horn.
Unicorn horn.
Yep, that's Sarah. I know Unicorn horn. She's a good friend of mine.
Chad Williams, welcome. Thank you for joining us. And Zach, the Seeker of Wisdom, welcome. Thank you for joining us tonight. Glad you all could make it. All right, sorry for that interruption. Let's continue on, guys. So, etymologically speaking, if you look at the names of the gods, Tyr would have had to have been the chief deity up until the point in which the cult of Odin started taking more prominence amongst the nobility of the Norse people.
My fam. That's what I'm seeing in the chat. I'm like, oh, okay. Yes. Now, one thing I'm wondering. Now, I don't know much about etymology. I know actually jack shit about it.
Don't feel bad. I don't know a whole lot. I only know a little bit, and where it concerns the few things that I have studied.
But one thing I do kind of usually understand when it comes to at least the anthropology is that a chief in a lot of mythologies, especially in a lot of older tribal mythologies, like our own or even the Greeks, usually the chief or whoever is on top is usually the one who sort of marks the most important values at the time. So perhaps before the Viking Age, before things, the Viking Age was sort of, it's sort of the iconic of what we see with long ships and continuous raiding. Perhaps before Odin and Thor took much higher considered positions than Tyr, their ideal like characteristics might have been courage and justice in a much more tribal society. And then once you get into a sedentary society, where things are slightly more established and things like, cleverness or wisdom become the main like focus, then another god becomes a much higher priority and could, in a sense, supplant him. It's like an evolution of like how a society functions. You could see it as that.
Right, and Chad also made a good point in the comments.
Oh,
What just happened?
well, we lost him.
He's
He's
like
gone.
straight up disappeared. Yeah, I do have to agree, Chad, that it does seem like it was around the time when Rome was really pushing into Germania that Odin started to take more prominence. Welcome back, Scald.
There you go. Oh, an angry cloud.
The angry cloud.
Yep, the angry cloud joined.
Woo!
All right. So, Corey, just to catch you up, we are discussing how Tyr may have been the original chieftain of the Norse pantheon. And we started off the discussion by looking at the etymology of the name Tyr from the Proto-Indo-European Greek father.
There we go. Sorry, just adjusting.
Up, and here's Angry Cloud with his usual shitty audio.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, no, I got the nice headset on right now. This is the way better audio.
Oh yeah.
At this point, I have to say it's probably because of his internet connection living out in the boonies.
Yeah,
I
probably.
have a nice headset too, but you know what's funny? It's not plugged into anything. That means Jack there, Angry Cloud.
Yeah, and I don't have anything plugged in. I sound better than you.
Oh, yeah,
Maybe it's because the mic keeps hitting your beard.
Now we can't hear that.
See, now we can't even hear you.
There we go. Now it's plugged in right.
Tyr is also linked to Central Asia.
Yes, the link to Central Asia is also through the Proto-Indo-Europeans, because as I said earlier, Proto-Indo-Europeans split off into the European languages and the Indo-Iranian languages. So spreading all the way out through Asia Minor and into the Indian subcontinent.
Right, because you can actually see kind of a connection between Farsi, which is what they speak in Iran, and then also to Old Norse. Like you can see similarities between them.
There are some similarities, but due to distance and the regular way that language morphs over time, it has shifted.
Right.
We have to look at some of the oldest recorded languages, not necessarily the oldest writings, because there could have been copies of even older writing systems.
Exactly.
So we have to look at the ones that show evidence of the earliest versions of these languages in order to start to kind of figure out which words are connected to which. And you have to at the same time be understanding which words in that particular language are native to that language and which ones are borrowed from another culture. So it gets very complicated and very confusing the further and further back you go.
Right. It gets way too complicated for even scholars to understand fully.
Now, I'm thinking about it a little bit, and a lot of the Indo-European cultures, it's often the sky god is the king of the gods.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd say Odin fits that role a little better than Tyr.
Okay, because I was about to ask if you were talking about the Angry Cloud that your D&D character worship.
It's entirely possible that Odin took on a lot of the aspects of Tyr as he started to gain prominence as the chief god of the nobility amongst the Norse. However, just like looking from a purely etymological standpoint, and I'm going to stress this is purely an etymological standpoint, Tyr is the chieftain god, since his name is a direct morphing of the Proto-Indo-European Goose Pater, which also turned into the Greek Zeus or the Roman Jupiter. So looking at it that way, it's 100% true that Tyr is the chieftain god. It becomes more complicated when you start looking at the roles of the gods could have flip-flopped multiple times throughout history. And at the same time, we also have evidence that the chieftain of the Aesir did change at least a few times within the Eddas. So at that point, it comes down to more of what your own personal interpretation of everything is. Because I don't think we can truly know for sure.
Right, and I actually did notice that I've been reading the Eddas more as well. Was that you didn't? Is that you do see that the chieftain can change?
Well,
I think, or even just mention that it's changed.
Zach did just mention about Tyr being the name, just meaning God, and that if you split up the name, the words, you could get spear god from Odin's spear. Or hold on, let me read out his comment. Put it up so everyone can see it.
It's not a bad thought.
I'm sure that I heard a discussion against Tyr being the chieftain. I'll try and see if I can get it and share it. The name Tyr just means God, and I think the name for Tyr is Odin's spear.
Yeah, please do share that.
I think he meant his type.
Yeah.
But Zeus literally means God. Jupiter means father god or god father. Deus Pater is god fathers, and they were all sky gods. So again, that does fit with the etymological morphing of the name Tyr over time. But speaking of spear god, I do want to point out one thing that this just made me think of. When Heimdall's father is mentioned, he is only ever called a spear glorious man or shield glorious man. So there could be a connection between Tyr and Heimdall's father. But at the same time, I also do believe that Tyr could mean that Tyr is not only Heimdall's father, but maybe possibly even Odin's, since I do believe that Odin and Heimdall are at the very least half brothers.
I mean, that was actually something I was going to bring up, considering since we still have that comment up on the screen. Since Tyr, if you just separate everything out, is spear god, and this is not something I can necessarily say like I actually believe, but it's a theory to think about. Are Tyr and Odin not necessarily the same person, but at one point they were, and then they would have split off at some point, as sometimes as we've seen, because like Frigg and Freya, sometimes we're not always sure, like, were they always the same? Did they split up, or were they always separate gods and goddesses in general? Because a god that's based for things like law and justice, and technically in some sense war, like Tyr is, against Odin, who is also considered a war god. People, like, we've seen that in a lot of times people would pray to Odin before they go into battle, usually for better luck. Some would say that justice and wisdom is also something that should be interlinked. In order to pass judgment, you need that wisdom. So wow, I can't speak today. Was it at some point that Tyr and Odin just were the same, and then perhaps people, as the Norse people eventually continued to evolve, that they just separated each other and decided that they should be separate entities, and from that Tyr came into being?
That's also a possibility.
Right, but also look at Frigg and Freya. They were also, whereas Freya was more worshipped by the nobility, and Frigg wasn't. That was as you can if you also look historically, Odin was more worshipped by either the warriors and the nobility. And
maybe the reason why Tyr was supplanted sort of by Odin is because in order to have justice, you should have wisdom first.
Exactly.
So a society would see the god of wisdom as he who should be ruling over other gods and other domains, because wisdom is the driving factor. And without it, you're not really as good at everything else you're saying about.
And I just want to say, when Cheese's girlfriend brought her food, she had the best smile on her face I've ever seen. It was like
Grain of-
she
the
hasn't
grain of
eaten in
all.
like 2 days.
This is ironic. This is actually just. This is most of this. Thank you, baby. This is actually food that I cooked last night. It's leftovers, but she still like heating it up for me. So like, very nice. I'm quite hungry.
I can
Mhm.
tell.
Yes, I know.
You're a lucky woman, cheese.
Aren't I? Hell yeah, I am.
Oh,
Oh yeah.
I know exactly who put this woman in my life. Thank you, Freya. Oh, and also for that last what was in the comments earlier about a connection to a Persian god, I was able to find the name of that Persian god. It's, let's see if I'm saying this right. It shouldn't be that hard for me to figure it out. Mithra.
Hey, Go, why don't you put up
Cult of
a
Mithras
chat
was
comment
a
in the
mystery cult that was spread all throughout the Mediterranean, and it is speculated that Mithras was a god of death or a death god of some sort. So there could be a connection in that sense. Odin is a god of death. He is a
Right, and Chad even just said in the chat that
Mhm.
that Tyr was also seen as a god of war and victory, and he still remains that way. And a lot of warriors mark their swords and shields with the Tiwaz rune, and along with drawing it upon their bow. And that Odin was prayed to mainly die well in a combative sense. So what Chad said does also make sense as well. Like where Odin would have been the one to pray to, like to have an honorable death, but then Tyr would have been the one to have a good battle, is what I'm getting out of that. You can correct me if I'm wrong there, Chad.
So we're going for Mithra of the Iranian, for the Zoroastrian, or for the cult inspired by the, since it'd be physically a little closer.
I'm looking at the one for Zoroastrian. Yeah.
Okay.
I believe it's Mithra or Mitra. I'm not sure if that's a difference.
Mithra.
Mithra. Yeah, it's based on just what I'm reading here. They represented civilization, order, and apparently also living in one place, because it looks from at the time they had just become a sedentary society, so they were no longer nomads.
I'm assuming
I guess-
Middle East is a lot of nomads.
Yeah.
Right. Like
So
the Middle East had
apparently-
a lot of nomadic tribes until Muhammad came along.
Yep. And at the
Even
time,
then.
it looks like this was just around the time when they were maybe just starting before before Muhammad came along, because it looked to me like it just says here he was opposed to crime, confusion, and people who moved from place to place, even though that was not fully seen apparently as like a fully bad thing. And maybe it was like this is how like they got the idea that like criminals constantly moved from place to place, like a criminalization of nomadicism.
Right.
Of their dirty barbarian type.
The dirty barbarians that never stay in one place because they're not as civilized.
Right.
Mhm.
Like they would go from
Farm.
place
It
to
says
place
right
to do
here
a raid
on,
and get their supply.
Wikipedia. It says right here on Wikipedia that Mithra was the Zoroastrian angelic divinity of covenant, light, and oath. In addition to being the divinity of contracts, Mithra is also a judicial figure, an all-seeing protector of truth, and the guardian of cattle, the harvest, and of the water. So, that sounds a lot like Tyr to me.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see.
Right. And this also goes back to how a lot of pantheons, you see a lot of overlap.
I mean, if you ever read anything from Joseph Campbell, the monomyth,
Mm.
or the
The
hero's
monomyth.
journey,
Yep.
which, in short, for anybody watching, pretty much Joseph Campbell. If you college mythology class, you'll hear about. He more or less has these thoughts, and they're fairly convincing about how of the mythology and hero stories are very similar. I remember very distinctly the 12 Steps of the Hero Journey. That one being pretty big, because you can watch almost any movie which is a hero centric one, and at least these 12 steps in order.
Right, like any war movie, like it lists those steps. Unless you're talking about the movie Stripes, but that's just a whole different movie.
Yeah, and any movie that doesn't follow, and it doesn't have to be just movies; it could be show, book, whatever. But even to the modern day, it's followed so well. If it doesn't follow those 12 steps, that's when it starts to go, and you're like, this just doesn't seem quite right. And those movies tend to never get sequels because they don't do so well. It doesn't feel right watching it.
I love that you gave me a knife and I've yet to use it at all.
It never hurts to have a knife.
It's always good to have a knife on you. You'd never go somewhere without. Oh, yeah,
Why did you
never go
already
anywhere
put it
without a
up
knife.
for me? If you were
Exactly.
just
You
gonna
never go
give me a
without a knife.
knife.
Make sure you heat it up.
Oh,
Evenly, so it doesn't get
In case you gotta cut a bitch.
that's true.
Exactly. You got
To cut a bitch, in case I gotta cut a bitch. Not
You
you.
never know. You never know.
Exactly.
Let's see. There you go. I got the here. So blurry, I can't read that. Never mind.
Yeah, we know you're
Eight.
Corey. We know your internet sucks, so it's all good.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. This picture's better. I like this one. Okay, the 12 Steps to Hero Journey, call to adventure, assistance. You some old guy who's has no character development himself. Departure, trials, approach, crisis, treasure, result, new life, resolute, status quo. If it does at least about 10 of those steps most of the time, it doesn't feel right to you watching it. And if you haven't heard of these 12 steps, you don't know why. You just know you don't like it.
That makes sense.
And if you know them, it starts to make sense intellectually, because it's like, oh, they broke the unspoken millennia-old formula.
Yep. Every movie, movies that do well, everything from like Rocky to Star Wars has that exact same formula. You just don't notice it until you think about it.
Exactly.
You can skip one or two. Once you start skipping three, you start going downhill a lot of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, there detail to this than just that, but this is the short and this man spent his entire career dedicated to the monomyth, 12 Steps to Hero Journey, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Just randomly hugging your cat, and then like they run away and scream.
Better than my dog.
No, actually, she wanted up just so she can give me a couple kisses because she was licking my beard, and then she wanted to go look out the window.
Oh, better than this thing.
Well, I currently
I
have
already
no
did that.
animals in the room.
Well, with all this talk of Tyr, I thought it was only fitting that I gave him a candle. So,
Don't lick my mouth. Get away.
new candle.
Well, now we're a tier of worship.
Don't pull a Loki cheese.
Stick
And I
my
had
finger in
some
your hand. See what you do. See what you do.
Feather.
Get out of here, little Henry.
Not as many feathers as Goat has.
I
Feathers?
got like 2 feathers in the now. I think yeah, I only got like 3 feathers right now. I gave my girlfriend some.
No, Corey. Anytime you are like on the in VC with Goat, you're guaranteed to hear at least once. Ooh, a feather.
I wish I was that lucky.
Because,
The only feathers I
because when
ever
he
found are
roamed-
like pigeon feathers. And I'm like, I don't want this. I should have
really
stuck
do
around.
find feathers all the time.
He
It's
does-
because often in VC he's walking around his neighborhood.
True.
I'll be doing that while we're playing D&D later. I'll be walking around and probably stumble upon at least one feather. If I don't find a feather, I'll be sad.
Just don't get chased by another alligator.
Yeah, right?
Or do. I mean, you're a Florida man.
I'm sure he'll be fine.
Chad, I have
Remember.
to agree with you. I do believe that Tyr and Loki have a sort of bromance going on. They definitely enjoy fucking with each other.
Yeah, the good
It's the
brother.
right, it's the right
Yeah.
word. Fully intend on trying to kill you.
No, Tyr's never trying to kill Loki.
Oh, sorry, I'm thinking of Heimdall. I don't know why I'm mixing up.
Yeah, you're
bad.
thinking of no,
Yeah, you're thinking of
Heimdall. And
My bad.
if we tie that into my other theories, Heimdall and Loki are brothers, so that's like the ultimate like, rivalry right there.
Okay.
But yeah, Tyr and Loki being friends that enjoy pranking each other and messing with each other makes good sense.
That sounds like it holds quite a lot of water, considering.
Well, I have heard from a couple of Tyr followers that they feel like Loki likes to fuck with them from time to time.
He thinks they're too serious.
Yeah,
Liven up a little bit.
I'm neither a Loki or Tyr follower. Loki still from time to time, like I told y'all in the D&D chat room. Just gonna go for this one, mainly for the others watching. I was driving and then I saw a small spider like up in the top of my car, on the inside, and I was like, "Don't fuck with me, Loki." Keep driving, and then it almost immediately starts going on this web down to my steering wheel or my hand, and I was like, "Don't fuck me! I'm driving. He might kill me." And then it's like, "I promise I'll give you a damn offering this weekend." It was on Friday. And then the spider went down the steering wheel, and I never. And it's like, okay. And I gave an offering to Loki.
Oh, geez. Speaking of offerings to Loki, has Loki been fucking with you lately?
Oh, yeah. He's decided that he is going to be like, I swear, I really am just getting passed around by the gods, being like, okay, now you go help her with something. She needs serious assistance. Now it's Loki, and he very much wanted to make himself known. I had very interesting dreams last night. Not last night, 2 nights ago, in which a coworker that I rarely get to speak to was sitting with me, and customers kept coming up and they were upset, and it's had something involved with me. And every time I was going to give an excuse, the coworker just said, "You take responsibility. You take responsibility. You take responsibility." And I'm like, okay. Loki has not left me alone for like a month.
All right. Well,
Loki has not left me alone
did you
for a
read
month.
what I was gonna do? Like, his goat gave me this idea.
Yes, Chad, I do miss finding bones with you. You probably can't see because it's too dark, but I do have. It's probably all the way over there. I do have that jawbone we found sitting in my ancestor altar. As soon as I figure out what I'm going to do with it, still haven't figured it out. But
All
yeah,
right,
he hasn't left me alone.
I have a perfect thing that will combine honoring Tyr and Loki at the same time. Are you guys ready for it?
Chop your hand off and
Let's
make
hear
crappy
it.
jokes.
Ready?
This, if you guys can read it,
Bobbin Gastafa.
free the nipple, and it's made out of Tiwa's runes.
So it's a nipple made out of Tiwa's ruins.
It looks like the world's most painful, like, nipple piercing for everyone. It goes through you, and then there's sharpness all around it, just in case you decided that you wanted to go near the nipple.
No, cheese. Like, do you know those subdermal implants?
Look at it. It looks It's a warning. Don't touch the nipple. That's what it is.
It's saying go away, go away, go
It's saying
away.
go away. I don't want you to touch the nipple.
It's
Bobby Gastafa.
what's it? The spear in the ground around a perimeter, or sticks put in the ground around a spear like that.
All right, like no, like geez, like do you know that
It's turning out to be like the best $10 I have ever spent, because like this is full of just such ridiculous magical staves that I think I can find a joke for pretty much every single live stream in this little book.
Is
Maybe
that
Loki
the
gave you
book-
that. He's like,
Is that
have a
translation
joke.
of I can't put that now, but the most complete set of magic spells from Iceland. Some of them are quite Christianized, just so like go for it anyway. Okay.
Last potato.
So
Potato.
we are
Potato.
more than halfway into this live stream, and we have literally only talked about pretty much Tyr.
Yeah.
Well, when I got in, that was the point. So
Yes. This was supposed to be about our favorite tales and theories, but I guess I'm going to have to change the title of this live stream to talk
tattoo ideas.
like
The
no
tattoo
some
ideas.
implant ideas?
Watch. One day, I'm gonna have to maybe if I ever decide one day to be like, I need a tattoo right here
On your boob?
on my boob. I'll have to show you which one specifically, because if I ever got that, it'd be the funniest thing on earth.
Oh, which?
Doesn't teal. Yeah. Or however many.
It'll
I'm
be just
gonna
a ring
send you
around
photo
it
of it.
with a bunch of sharp looking arrows.
Apparently, call
She's
Caleb.
so distraught.
I love tattoos on you, but
She's very distraught at the idea.
Well, no, like geez, like that stave kind of reminded me of like those like subdermal implants. But just like imagine it like where the spikes kind of come out around the nipple. That's just kind of like a warning to like anyone who's like trying to like suck on someone's nipples. Just like nope, get away.
Welcome to the beginning of an anti-rape device. No, you do not touch the nipple. You don't
No nipple.
see the nipple. Oh man.
I'm gonna get, but don't touch.
I'm gonna get it.
Clothing might be
Don't touch
difficult.
All right,
But that's
so
only if you don't know how to control it.
I'm going to post those photos in the meat hall on the Discord, guys, just so everybody can have it. It's just gonna
Oh,
be
so
out.
now listen, Goat. Now you know, at Midsummer, all of us are going to be running around with that stave around our nipples.
Nipple stave.
I might do it in Sharpie.
Yeah, just be like one day, like there we go.
I do have to
Yeah.
put this in the Sather and Magic channel as well. There we go. All right. Now,
You set it on fire.
posterity, everyone will be able to find it.
I love the paragraph that is attached. If you, what you should do is paint the stave in the center of your chest, soak your bra in gasoline, set it on fire, and cast it into the crater of an active volcano. Please remove the bra first. From this point onwards, you can enjoy your wonderful, life-giving nipples with freedom.
Where are you reading this?
It's
Yeah,
the
Unicorn Horn, you can
paragraph
do,
underneath next to the picture in that book. It's so good.
Like, yeah, Unicorn Horn. We can do like a Pagans OnlyFans.
Pagans OnlyFans. It's just that stave over and over.
Yeah, and it's just us with that stave, it's just like painted over our bodies somewhere.
Just like free the nipple.
Like no, imagine it. Like no, imagine it around the asshole.
No. But I'd be totally down with doing a whole entire campaign of pagans painting that stave on them to free the nipple.
Free the nipple campaign. I'm still thinking about those subdermal implants, except now, thanks to you, and now I'm thinking about them in a butt. So thanks. I'm just picturing sharp spikes shooting out of a man's butt.
Okay, won't be like who was it? Steve-O who pierced his ass cheeks together.
Oh, that
was such
that
a
had to be
bad-
horrible trying to take a dump.
You don't take a dump after that.
Oh my, your ass cheeks are.
You
literally
die of like
pierced
toxic
together.
poop or something.
Yeah. Unless you just.
Well, no, you intentionally have to give yourself
sodium
diarrhea.
citrate.
I mean, it won't matter. No, like a week without taking a shit, you're gonna die. You have to.
You'll just
yeah.
intentionally have to give yourself diarrhea and then just like hose it off.
Yeah, sodium citrate. Like you just drink a bottle of that and you're on the toilet for at least 12
Yeah.
hours.
Yeah. Give yourself diarrhea like twice a week. Gold.
Golden, he says.
A golden
So,
brown.
Steve, what pipe tobacco are you smoking?
It's not tobacco. It is. I'm pretty sure it's my mugwort and not the wormwort. Pretty sure it's the mugwort.
Okay. This is what I'm smoking.
Black mixture, Balkan mixture. Damn.
Yeah, Balkan.
It comes with ethnic cleansing.
It comes with a- oh my god.
Now listen, you know we have the D&D game tonight. Don't give me ideas.
Gosh, shush. What'd you say? That's not fair. I missed that. Damn it, what happened?
He said comes with ethnic cleansing, and I just said, well, you know we are playing D&D tonight. Don't give me ideas.
That's bad.
Don't worry. You'd live long enough to successfully pull that off. And you're not in the Balkans.
That's true.
Doesn't matter. I'll find a way to do it.
I'll find a ginger to
We'll
stop
find
you.
a way.
So should we actually like talk about another theory and Norse story? Or are we only
Sure,
are we only gonna bullshit for the rest of the live stream?
I got a cool thing I learned like less than 10 minutes prior to hopping on. So apparently in England, there was a tradition that lasted into the 18 or 1900s of people putting concealed shoes inside their homes, various parts. There's no written evidence about what it means, but folk magic suggests it was for either a protection ward to protect against witches, or it was for fertility, connected possibly in Lancaster, where a woman would wear a woman who wanted to get pregnant would wear the shoes of a woman who just gave birth.
That's interesting.
There's been a few thousand shoes found in total, so it's not like this is some one-off. And we're talking about, like built into the house sometimes, inside the walls or behind the hearth place, or occasionally even in the foundation.
Yeah, well, I know in my area,
What's a practice?
when someone was building a house, they would actually put a cat in the wall and just seal it up.
Yeah, real cask of
What
What the hell
Amontillado.
is wrong with the Amish?
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe they hate
Wait,
cats.
what?
No, it wasn't just the Amish, because I don't live near the Amish. Like, I'm like maybe about an hour and a half away from the Amish.
Still. That's
Like, it
weird.
wasn't just the Amish. Like, it was like the
Wait,
Germans.
wait.
It was it was the Polish. It was the Russians, the Irish. They all did it. Did it in my area. I don't know why.
Do you know why?
It's actually a really old practice, and I'm not sure exactly how far back it dates. But it was common practice to put a cat in the walls or in the foundations of a building.
I have to look this up now.
Yeah, go for
just
it.
the thought of this, me.
Okay, just the first thing I found. Cats' remains were often placed in the walls of properties across Europe in the past as a good luck omen. It was thought they had a sixth sense and could banish evil spirit.
Was the cat dead
Yeah.
when they put it in the wall?
It was a blood sacrifice of the animal could use psychic abilities to ward off and find unwanted spirits. The way they describe that makes me think it might not have been. Perhaps they sedated the cat. I don't know.
Yes, they are, Sarah. They are very odd people.
It was called dried cat. That's somehow so much not as worse as you'd think it would be. Prepare it.
Bird.
Burb.
Or
Its name is Fluffy Bird. I have no idea if it's a boy or a girl.
Aw, cute
Fluffy bird.
fluffy bird.
well,
My
just look up
4-year-old
the tail and see if it has a bacoica.
I have no idea how to sex a bird.
I just told you. Lift up the tail and see if it has a bacoica.
He doesn't even know what that is.
So it looks like, although some accounts claim the cats were walled in alive, examination of
Can't
recovered
tell.
specimens indicates post-mortem concealment in most cases. So I would guess they were killed first and then put in the walls.
I mean, that's better. It's one thing to do animal sacrifice, clean. That's I can with that, but
no, I know in my area,
suffocating
sometimes
it to
they put a live
death.
cat in the wall. Like, no,
Yeah,
I know in
right.
my area, it was sometimes just a live cat. They just threw it in the wall and sealed it up.
Oh, that's just
Yeah,
messed
that's-
up because it's
that's-
going to suffocate over hours potentially.
Yeah,
Or
you're not
starve
like
to
just
death.
going like. Phew. It's not. You're not
Yeah.
shooting it or stabbing it. You're like leaving it to suffocate. That's a
Yeah.
cruel and unusual punishment for a kitty.
Yeah, but you also have to remember
Definitely not
back in the 1700s, they weren't seen as they are today either.
The Egyptians loved cats, and cats are great mouse catchers.
All right, I have a meme just for you. I'm gonna send it after the after the live stream here.
Drop it in D&D. That way I'll see it too.
Oh yeah, it was basically like, well, have you guys ever seen the show A Trailer Park Boys?
I have not.
I've seen clips of it. I haven't watched the show though.
Okay, well, do you know who Bubbles is? The guy with the
The
big
your glasses. Your glasses.
You know who Bubbles is, baby?
Anyways.
Who is Bubbles?
I'll let him explain.
Oh, okay.
Well-
She knows.
Yeah.
She knows.
Yeah. Well, it took like an image of him holding holding a cat, and the quote from him holding the cat was, "That's a nice fucking kitty right there." And
Okay, I've seen that
the
meme.
caption of it was, "Oh yeah, how the
No,
like how the Egyptians found a god."
You used the thing. Yeah.
Welcome, Blake. Thank you for joining us.
No, I didn't. Like, no, I
By
never
the way.
told him about how to Levi's kitty hammock. I guess
Your
because
cat
now
has-
that you brought that up, I gotta tell that story.
I'm not sure I want to know the story.
So
I mean, hammocks sound cool.
A kitty hammock conjures up a lot of ideas. I hope it's not
okay,
the
well,
bad one.
basically every time I go to take a shit, my cat lays on my pants.
Okay, so not what I thought it was going to be, but a lot better than the worst option I gave myself.
Yeah,
have been a
I
lot
actually have
worse.
Pictures of it that I sent to Sarah, and it's funny.
And that bird
Hey,
just
Blake, yeah, there,
Not nice. Not nice, bird.
did Fluffy Bird shit on you?
Yes.
Oh, he's like, I'm gonna
Like
take this
that's some
shit
shit.
right here.
Yeah, ain't that some shit?
So, for a story that I need to share, because I have to tell this to someone other than her. I was recently given a very, very nice tarot deck. And so far, it has harmed every single person who has touched it besides myself.
Don't let anybody else touch it.
Don't let anybody touch it. Like a solution.
Literally, she bought it for me, and immediately she picks it up and she's getting paper cuts. I show it, I let a friend hold it, immediately getting paper cuts.
All right. Well, I'm going to steer us away from this conversation because we're getting so far off topic. It's ridiculous. Now, granted, that is part of what this show is. We are full of
Is that we go so
shenanigans.
far off topic? It's not even funny.
But at this point, we are so far off topic, we are nowhere even near paganism.
Yep.
So,
So that's typical for us.
Skull, pick a number.
Pick a number like between one and what?
1 and 9.
1 and 9.
1 and 9.
Let's go 5.
6.
2. You don't know. If you choose 6, I choose 9. just for the meme.
Oh, all right, hold on. I gotta.
I don't think we can read the number, Goat.
There you go.
That is
30 sauce.
30 sauce, which represents Thor.
Which is I believe it's 3rd or 4th rune in the alphabet, if I'm correct.
Yes,
So,
it's
or
prayers
theory.
at 4th rune. The keywords are protection, warning, contemplation, decisions, and luck.
It's a warning of change. It's a rune for passively resisting conflict, and a rune of balance.
Right.
That's your rune pool, buddy.
All right. Awesome.
Congratulations. You are one of only a few people that I would pull runes for.
Thank you, brother.
No, it's mostly because, like, pulling runes, a lot of people feel is a very personal thing, and most people don't like it when you pull a random rune for them.
Yeah.
But I felt it was necessary. Just kind
Fair
of
enough.
when I did that rune for cheese like a month ago.
Yeah.
All
I
right,
can still smell dinner.
so I have a story that I think
And
we
now
should talk.
story time with Goat.
I think we should talk about the Volsci.
The what? I can't hear him.
It's called "Will You Fill Her In?"
The Volsci?
Yes, this topic comes from you, so congratulations. You get to tell her.
Oh, now you're putting me on the spot, buddy. I try to remember this conversation that we had about it. Goat, you're going to have to do it here because I can't remember because we have a lot of conversations.
All right, Volsci. The story of the Volsci, for those of you who are unfamiliar, is a story about a family, a farmer and his wife. He had 2 children, a son and a daughter, and they had 2 thralls. Holy fuck, I got a damn Charlie horse. Give me 1 moment. Ow.
What happened?
What just happened?
I think his butt plug fell out.
No, he is the butt plug.
Oh, poor boy.
Oh, yeah, cheese. In on that.
I got a Charlie horse out of nowhere in the back of my thigh, and it is excruciatingly painful at the moment.
Go drink some water.
I already have.
Okay.
I'm going to continue on. So the story of the Volsci takes place with a farmer, his wife, his 2 children, a son and a daughter. They also have 2 thralls, a male and a female. Now, one day, while the husband was, I believe his husband, was butchering a horse, the young son grabs the severed phallus of the horse and runs into the house. With that severed phallus, he begins to run around and wavering it to and fro, and he goes up to his sister and tells her that it will feel good between her knitters. Or betwixt.
Oh, now I see how that came from me.
Now, as he is running around and waving this horse penis in the air, I believe it is the female thrall or his sister that says that he should throw it away and get rid of that disgusting thing. But his mother stood up and was like, "No! You shall not waste something that is so good. And so she takes this horse penis. She places it with some onions and some leeks and some herbs. She says a little prayer and a little spell, and she preserves this horse penis. Then once a year during the autumn, she would bring out the Volsi, and she will pass it along between each member of her family as she says a prayer to Frey. And they honor the Volsi. And then one day, a king comes to visit. And while he is sitting down with them to dinner, the mother brings out the Volsi, and she passes it along to everybody as they say their little piece and pass it on. When it finally comes to the king, he takes the Volsi and he casts it into the fire and declares that they shall worship it no more. There you go. There's the story of the Volsi in a nutshell. I hope you
Does
enjoyed
that
it.
go along with the joke that I made about the offering I'm going to make to Loki?
No, that goes along with the tale of Sleipnir, in which Loki decided that in order to save face and not allow the Aesir to lose their battle, he took upon himself the form of a mare, and he went out in order to distract Svartalfari while Bildir was trying to quarry the stones. And while he was doing so, Loki and Svartalfari ran to and fro through the woods and the fields, frolicking together all day. And when Bilder went to find Svartalfari, he whistled, but Svartalfari did not come. And he whistled again, and Svartalfari did not come.
Oh, he
And
came.
he whistled again.
Oh yeah, Svartalfari came, all right.
He started to haul the stones himself. On the next day, he finally found Svartalfari, and with him was a mare. But Bilder knew who the mare was, and he knew that it was in fact Loki in disguise. And then he called out to the gods for their trickery, and Loki ran back to the Aesir. And Thor decided enough was enough, and he took off Bilder's head. With that, 9 months later, Loki gives birth to Sleipnir to his brother Odin, and so that Odin may ride him into Ragnarok. Congratulations.
And that is why Loki likes pretty ponies.
That is why Loki likes pretty ponies. Yes.
Loki, the first brony. It's okay.
I was just thinking of Brony.
Start doing some of these over dramatic, summarized versions of these stories more often.
Yes, you absolutely do. And Borden even said you have a future in voice acting.
Oh, why, thank you, sir. I greatly appreciate it. Now, speaking of Loki, do you all know when he turned into a fish?
Tell us a story, Goat.
Tell us the
story
story.
when Loki turned into a fish. So it starts off with Hod being left out as his brothers and sisters and his Aesir family were throwing things at his dear brother Balder. And Hod was so sad because he couldn't partake in any of the fun. So Loki decided he was going to help. He goes over to Frigg, and he says to her, oh wait, hold on. Oh, I forgot. He came to her in the disguise of an old woman. And when he came to her, he said, are you sure that nothing can harm your dear son Balder? And Frigg was like, no, nothing. I have gotten everything to swear an oath never to harm him. And the old lady was like, are you sure that you have gotten everything in existence? And Frigg was like, oh, there was but one thing that I missed, the mistletoe, but it was too young and inconsequential. It could never harm dear Balder. And with a cackle, the little witch disappeared. The old lady was in fact Loki in disguise. And so Loki went and he found himself a twig of mistletoe, which he crafted into a crafty dart. And coming up to an old poor blind Hod, he tells him, Hod, why are you so sad? And Hod is like, because I cannot participate in the fun. I do not know what it is that I am missing. So Loki hands him the dart and says, here, take this. I will help you aim. And they throw the dart. And everyone goes silent. Poor little Hod was looking around and he was like, what? What is it? What has happened? Somebody tell me. And with that they said, Baldur is dead. The gods immediately knew that it was Loki who was responsible, so they went to go find him. But search as they might, they could not find the crafty one, for he was spending his days upon a pond near a waterfall where he would knit himself nets during the days, and thus how he invented the fishing net. And then he would hide whenever the gods came near by turning into a fish and diving into the pond. Well, one day, the gods came upon Loki's shack, and they came inside. They could not find nothing but the one thing that was found. He had found the burnt remnants of a net in the fire. And after convincing the gods of his plan, they knitted a new net and they dragged it through the pond, only to miss Loki as he hid between two rocks. Thinking about this, Tyr decided, we shall tie rocks to the net and try it again. And this time, they dragged the net through the pond. And with the net, they pulled the floor in the form of a salmon. But they knew that it was Loki and not just a fish. And that is how they caught Loki and thus took him to the cave for his punishment, where they bound him to a rock with the entrails of his son that they murdered in front of him. And then they tied a serpent above his head to drip poison onto him. His beloved wife Sigyn, so in grief with her love, stood every day holding a bowl above Loki's head to catch the poison as it dripped from the serpent's fangs. But alas, eventually, as always, that bowl will fill up, and Sigyn will have to leave and dump the bowl out. When that happens, the poison drips upon Loki's face, and he writhes in pain. And thus we have earthquakes. And there Loki shall return down to that rock until he shall escape his bond to lead against the Heathen to Ragnarok.
Tasty.
Corey?
Good
Let's
start.
go.
You looked frozen, Corey. You were not moving for quite some time.
I was trying to type in the comments. Matthew and I were holding a little conversation about the weird things that Scald does. He's quite the Lokian. That's the best way to put it.
But thing is, I don't worship Loki. Maybe I should.
Well, you got at least one that's like him in your choice of extracurricular activities.
Oh my.
I don't do anything
All
like that, you motherfucker.
I mean, you know, you don't choose Loki. Loki chooses you, and you deal with it.
See,
Stallion
the way I
chooses
like
and
to-
chooses you
I
as
like
well.
to describe it is when Loki decides that he wants to work with you, it's not so much like you're given a choice. It's more like he decides to beat you over the head with a sack full of angry cats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, cheese. Is the plate clean?
Look at the first one.
Yeah, cheese. Is the plate clean? You gotta
Look at the first one.
like if it's not, lick it. There you go.
Hold on.
There you go.
She's not looking. It's okay.
The thing is, if she is looking, we know like cheese isn't gonna join the D&D game for at least an hour.
It's a bird.
She's not even listening to me.
Huh?
Nothing.
Fine, go downstairs. Run away from me. Oh, shit.
Nothing. We're just being dumbasses.
I don't know.
Are you playing ESO again?
I am.
I thought you were playing something else for a hot second. I was like, dang, Sims 4
Make
got a
contact
treat.
if she
Like,
loves.
cheese, your wife, like cheese. Your wife plays ESO.
She's not my wife.
She pretty much is your wife. That I said she brought you food.
She can hear you. Shut up.
Huh?
Nothing, baby.
What did you say?
I'm not telling them anything.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Once Goat gets back, we probably should wrap this up because we got Borden and Pell waiting on us. I see them sitting there both in the VC for D&D.
I see what
Well,
you said there.
Goats is back.
Mix the demon. I'll do that. Hold on. Maybe. Wait.
Good job.
No. Don't. I'm not done yet.
Okay. Good job.
Now
I'm
cheese
just
isn't
told
gonna be
to
in the
assert
D&D game. for at least
dominance
2 hours.
and make eye contact.
All right. So with
Yeah,
that
that's
said,
totally how I do it.
Over an hour. So is the end of our show. Now, I do want to real quick say a few things before we wrap up. I do apologize for the delay in having this live stream. I know we were supposed to do a live stream for the last couple of weeks, but we were trying to do a live stream on Fate, but Fate would not allow it.
No, Fate was not allowing us.
At
Faith
some
was like,
point,
shut up.
you will see a live stream from us where we discuss Fate. However, I cannot say when that will be, and we might not even know until that day. So keep your eyes out.
You have to do it unplanned, otherwise Fate won't allow it.
The greatest plans of my sin men. You get royally fucked up real quick.
Now, we do have a couple of announcements that we want to make in regard to the YouTube channel. First up is that we do still have the giveaway going on for the copy of A Practical Heathen's Guide to Ossetru by Patricia LaFile. And it's still open to anybody. Now, if you submitted an entry for the last giveaway, that entry is no longer valid. You do need to submit a new entry. In order to enter to win the book, all you have to do is subscribe to the channel and take a screenshot to show that you are subscribed and post it in the giveaways thread on the Discord. You'll be able to find a link to the Discord in the description down below. We will be giving away the book next week, guys. So next week, during the live stream, we will give away the book. All right, moving on. Patreon supporters do get an extra entry into every giveaway. So it's a nice way to help your chances in winning the book. You'll be able to find a link to our Patreon in the description down below as well. Big good news for the channel. We will be having a new series on the channel called Skull's Sitting Room, where Skull's over there. Down there.
Hello.
Down there. Wait, yeah.
Down
Over
here.
there.
Hey, are you
Over
okay
there.
down there?
He's over there.
All right. So-
Cheese, why aren't you wearing
I'm
pants?
here. He's there.
I'm wearing pants. Hey,
Not
hey,
from my
hey,
point
hey.
of view, but I'm below you.
I just got out of work. You can't prove I'm not wearing pants.
Well, thing is, I'm the one below you right now, so
Okay, well, you know what? Maybe I'll just.
She's gonna spam.
I'll shit right on you. Shut up. You shut up.
I'm just waiting for the day when somehow you manage to break out of that little window and like reach down into his to grab him.
I'll just shake his head and be like, "Hey,
Get over
Hey.
here.
come here."
well, no. Thing is, I'm bald, so you could just rub my head. Oh yeah, and just like I read a future or something.
Today I will read the future coming out of the very shiny ball that is called head. I
Well,
see.
Scald's first
There.
video will be posted up next week. And Scald, if you want to take a moment and let everybody know what your video is going to be about.
Well, my video is going to be a TLDR version of the Volospa. Because Goat did a previous reading of the story. And what I would be doing was a kind of just like a sit down, too long, didn't read, just give a basic summary of it. It gave some examples of how things kind of cycle through and kind of my own opinion on it. The video after that will be talking about Viking longships, so stay tuned for that as well.
All right. Well, with that, we'll just leave these last few words. There is a giveaway channel in the Discord, Blake. It's under giveaway entries. I recently
Well, those are
fixed
some awesome last few words.
everybody will be able to see the previous posts, and they'll be able to see if they entered into the current giveaway or not. We'll get off. So, final words I want to leave everybody with. Remember, guys, there is no one true way. Skull.
Skull.
Oh.
Scald.
Oh.
Oh.
Why isn't it not ending?